Hey beach, welcome to a reading vlog. My name is Bailey and this is my channel. So, okay, I feel like I have a ponytail. I feel like every time I wear a ponytail, my head looks like an egg. You know what? That's fine. My bed is like not made right now because I just woke up and I've been waking up at like 12 to 1 p.m. every day because my sleep schedule is fucked. So don't judge me. But this is a reading vlog. Did I say that? It's a reading vlog. I already started a vlog like 2 days ago, but I looked over the footage and I hate all the stuff I filmed for it, so I'm scrapping it. But I will talk briefly on what I was saying in that vlog. So what I was talking about at the beginning of it was basically I wanted to finish Pride and Prejudice before the end of March, and I did that, so go me. Sometimes if you set your mind to something, you'll achieve it, and those are some pretty good odds. I gave this 4 to 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I talked about it in my March wrap-up, which, side note, I was so delirious yesterday when I was editing that wrap-up, and I literally didn't edit a section of that video. Like, it's in the middle. It's not even like the end or the beginning. It's just a section of it in the middle I didn't edit. So if you ever watch that video, just skip over the part where I talk about fan art because I can't watch it because I know it's unedited and it bothers me. So just thought I'd point that out, that I'm aware it's unedited. So I don't know what happened there. I'm not gonna private it or delete it just because I don't have the energy for that, but it pisses me off that that happened. So yeah, I talked about this in my March wrap-up at the end, and I liked it. It wasn't like phenomenal, but I enjoyed it. Okay, moving on to the things I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading Wilder Girls by Rory Power. I don't know why I have this book, to be honest. I bought it like last year, and well, obviously I bought it last year. It came out last year. I don't know, like, I think it was for a readathon. I thought maybe it would work out. I didn't read it for that readathon, but also I hate horror and I hate body horror, and that's what this book is. So I don't know what I expected, to be honest. Like, so I'm 25 pages into this. I don't know, like, let me give you a description of what this book is. Basically, there's these girls, and they are on this island because they go to a boarding school, like Raxter School for Girls, something like that. And this boarding school is on this island, and then there's this tox that is mutating these girls' bodies, so they've been quarantined onto this island. Girls go missing, or a girl goes missing. Great. I decided to start this just because, like, on a whim I saw it. I'm like, I'm gonna read that now. And so I'm trying, but I don't actually like the writing, really. Body horror aside, there's a bit of it right now, but not too much. I don't like the writing. Maybe I'm just, like, dumb, or when I was trying to read this, I was just, like, out of my mind. But I can't tell what tense this is in, so it's making it confusing, because I don't know why I've interpreted so many lines of this being in different tenses. So I don't know if that's a writing thing or, like, my mind is not computing correctly, but the writing is not my fave. And, like, the letters, sorry, the pages have, like, so much writing on them. Like, the font is so big, so I assumed I would be able to read this pretty quickly, but I'm so confused. Like, the writing itself is confusing me, so we'll see how this goes, to be honest. But the green of this book is really nice, like, A+ to the green. There's a few things I'd like to kind of briefly mention here. So, and these are kind of not related to my reading, more to my social media. I have a Curious Cat. If you don't know what that is, it's basically an anonymous question and answer thing where I have an account. If you send me a question, I can answer it, but you can ask a question anonymously. Now, that's all fine and dandy. That's fine to me. I like answering questions, so that's okay. Except for the fact that I keep getting sexually explicit and gross questions to my Curious Cat. And they don't bother me per se, but I just thought I'd tell y'all that I'm a minor, and you might not want to be asking sexually explicit questions to a minor. So yeah, I just thought I'd inform y'all if you didn't know, because some of the questions I get suggest to me that y'all don't know that I am a little being, a little child. So maybe don't be a pervert. Well, that's all I've got right now. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat something. But yeah, there's my update on my reading. I look like a bit of a mess and like a crackhead right now, which, you know what, isn't far from how I usually look, but I feel the need to update you. I just read One of Us is Lying. I listened to the audiobook and I just read it in like one sitting. I started this at like 11:45 yesterday and I finished it at like 5:30. So I just read this whole thing, and I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to tell Ava that. She's my best friend, she's been around every once in a while because she really likes this book and she's been begging me to read it, and I tried to read it like last year and got 70 pages in and absolutely hated it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be cleaning my room, which I've been doing for the whole time I was listening to the audiobook, so might as well listen to it, and I just like read the whole thing. So that's that was interesting. I'm now not going to sleep though because it's like 6 a.m. and my sleep schedule's been so screwed up that I've been waking up at like 1 in the afternoon, and so I need to sleep. So I need to like not sleep now, and then I'll pass out by like 9 tonight or today. So then my sleep schedule will be back on. That's the plan here, but I don't know if I'll make it. But I gave this 2.5 out of 5 stars. I was gonna give it a 3, but I was like, I just feel like I can't. This book, if you don't know what this book is about, because I just like randomly read this out of nowhere, this is well, I've heard it being called a thriller. This is not a thriller. The thrill is minimal to basically none. Honestly, none. But this, I would say this is like maybe a mystery. Yeah. So this is like a YA mystery, contemporary mystery that follows these 4 people, and basically they're all in high school, and this guy, Simon, runs this gossip site, and one day these 5 people, Bronwyn, Cooper, Addie, and Nate, and Simon, end up in detention together, and Simon ends up dying from an anaphylactic reaction to peanuts during this detention, and they are all suspects in this murder case. That's not a spoiler, by the way. It's in the synopsis that he dies. Whatever. And it's the, like, inciting incident. A note on the peanut thing. I have a severe allergy to all nuts, and so that was a little stressful. The prospect of somebody murdering you with your allergy. A little bit stressful, but I don't have any enemies like this, at least not that I know of. This book was okay. It definitely had me engaged, and I was definitely entertained the whole time. Clearly, I read it in like one sitting and just like plowed through it. But I hated a lot of things in this book, and I enjoyed a few things. First thing, Bronwyn and Nate's relationship carried this whole book. Like, I couldn't give a shit about Cooper's like stale, non-toasted white bread ass personality. Like, I don't give a shit about him. And Addie I hated from the beginning, and then she became like, Addie's whole plot line here is basically she was just an abusive boyfriend who was very controlling, and then she gets out of that relationship, and the book fucking hammers down your throat that she's like, she has a new chance at life, she's such a badass without this guy, she's this, that, the other thing. And I get the message. I respect that, like, people are in abusive relationships and they get out of them and they're free to be themselves. That's fine. But it was not subtle at all. It was so heavy-handed. Like, the end, she's like, I don't need no man. I have a new opportunity in life. Like, she says lines that are just so on the nose that I'm just like, okay, thank you, subtlety. Like, hit me in the fucking face with that message. Another thing with this book, I'm not going to say, like, exactly what's going on here, but someone's sexuality is used as a plot twist in this book, and that doesn't bother me, per se, but I've seen a lot of people complain about that, so I thought I'd, like, bring that up. It did strike me as a little strange. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit maybe distasteful in some people's eyes. Again, I didn't really care much about it, but I thought I'd mention it because I've heard a lot of people not liking that. I don't know, I just only cared about Nate and Bronwyn's relationship. And, like, shit happens at the end that, like, gets in the way of that, and I think I now have to read the sequel just to know what's going on with that, because the sequel doesn't follow these characters directly, it follows a few of their siblings and other people, so that's my only problem, is, like, I want to read about these characters, I want to know what's going on with these two, I don't care about the other two. I think I have to read the sequel now, which is, you know, a little inconvenient to me, but I'll just probably listen to the audiobook as well and just get that over with. The mystery, the reveal in this book I already knew. I googled it when I tried to read this last time because I was just bored as hell. And I would say it was shocking. Like, if I didn't know what it was before, I probably would have come to some sort of conclusion like that, but I think it was a good enough ending. It was not, like, too predictable. There's a scene at the end which just furthers my hatred of Addie, in which she is being chased by somebody through the woods who is gonna hurt her because she has evidence against them. That's basically incriminating, and she decides that the best course of action is to scream help while she's running through the woods. I get that when you're in those high stress situations, it can make you do stupid things, but are you kidding me? This bitch. And then she's commended for her bravery and like how badass she is later on, but I'm like, I was there. I saw the dumbassery. Why are we not acknowledging the dumbassery? Like, this person has a multitude of reasons to dislike you and want to hurt you. And they're more fit than you, and you are running through the woods at night with incriminating evidence of them. And your decision is to scream, which tells them exactly where you are. Like, I was just like, you deserve to get caught by this person at this point because you didn't try not to. That scene made me lose my mind. In general, I enjoyed this book enough. Like, it was entertaining and engaging, but I didn't like it that much. So I thought I'd update on that because that was a random, spontaneous thing I did. And I'm back like 2 seconds after I turned the camera off, and it was because I wanted to talk about the fact that the audiobook is full cast, but the narrator for Nate's POV, his name is Robbie Damon, I think, and I loved his voice a lot, and so I found all the audiobooks he's narrated that I'm at least somewhat interested in, and I've placed holds on them or borrowed them from my library because that man's voice, I loved it. I don't know exactly what it was. Like, I like Nate's character already, but his narrator was definitely doing him some favors because that guy's voice was pretty great.
Boom. Wait, renegade. I'm just a loser, shouldn't be with ya. Guess I'm a quitter.
So you know that plan I briefly mentioned the other day in which I was going to stay up all of yesterday so that I would get a better sleep schedule by passing out at like 9? Well, here's the thing, I underestimated my ability to just sleep for ungodly amounts of time because I went to bed at like 9 and then woke up at 1. So clearly my sleep schedule is still fucked because it's already the afternoon. Yay. Okay. I have an update on a few things. One, it's Sunday, April 5th, which means that I go back to school tomorrow, and it is just like Zoom classes, so it's not that big a deal, but it's also like, guess what I didn't do over spring break? Schoolwork. And that's not great, because it's like, you know, kind of want to get into university, kind of don't want this pandemic to make it so that I slack all the way off and don't get into a good university, so kind of stressed, kind of having a bad time. But let's talk about reading, because only the important things here, folks. I'm DNFing Wilder Girls for now. If I kept up the facade of me reading Wilder Girls, that was like a middle finger quote, that was not good. Me reading Wilder Girls, I would get into a reading slump, because I could feel this book putting me into a reading slump, and that's just not good. But, like, I wasn't vibing with the writing, and I didn't care, and I was only 27 pages in, so it's like, what are you going to care about 27 pages into a book? But usually, you know, you feel you care somewhat of what's going to happen, you care about, like, reading more and figure out what's going on. And I just didn't care at all, and so I was like, oh, I'm going to start reading, and then, like, wouldn't, because I don't give a shit about this book. Or, like, it's not even, like, the premise is actually interesting. Like, in the first 27 pages, they're literally talking about the fact that there's, like, food shortages, and they have to fight for things, and a girl has a flare-up of the tox and, like, body horror shit. And you would think I would care, but I just didn't. I think it was the writing that was making me not care, though, because the writing wasn't detached, but it was kind of dry, to be honest, and it being dry made me feel dryly about the book. Also, I still have no idea what tense it's written in because I still couldn't figure it out, so that might be a me problem. But also, I've heard that this book has a very abrupt ending, which suggests to me that things aren't fully wrapped up in a bow. And I have a lot of mental problems, and I cannot stand when I'm not told the answer to something, or like, okay, if someone says like, oh, let me tell you something, and then says, oh, never mind, or like forgets their thought, I lose my mind. Because now I'm going to be obsessed over that little thing, and then you never get clarification. So things that end abruptly, or things that are not fully cleared up, really aren't good for me. I'm DNFing this for now. Maybe one day when I'm like if I ever find the audiobook for this, I might like do that, because it's not a very long book, so the audiobook would be like 10 or something hours, and I listen on 2 times speed, so could probably blow through this in like 5 hours if I got the audiobook, but I am not reading this right now. I was trying to find a book that I would be interested in, because every book I've tried to read just has not worked. So I'm reading 2 books right now, one physically and one on audiobook. I'll talk about the one I'm reading on audiobook first, because I don't have as much to say. So I started listening to Carval on audiobook, because when I walk my dogs, and when I'm like doing things like cleaning my room or cleaning around the house, I like having an audiobook to listen to, and so I stumbled upon the Carvel one, and so that's what I'm listening to right now. If you don't know what this is, this book follows Scarlett Dragna, is that her name? And she lives on this little island, and her and her sister have always wanted to go see this thing called Carval. Scarlett's been sending letters to the Carval master, his name is Legend, for years upon years, I think 7 years, and one day he responds and sends her 3 invitations to go to Carval, and then stuff happens, bing bang boom, they end up at Carval. And the objective of this round of Carval is to be the first one to find Tella, and then you win the prize of a wish. That was a really bumpy explanation, but you know what? Whatever. So I read up to page, I still have the bookmark in, 94 or 95 the last time I tried to read this, and I just like stopped reading it. That happened to me like a bunch of times in the past 2 years. I'd be reading a book and then be like, okay, peace bitch, bye. So came back to this. The audiobook, I've listened up to page 59 of the audiobook today. What do I feel? I hate Scarlett with a burning passion. Like, I usually don't like main characters, so it's not like that surprising, but Scarlett is pissing me off so much, because it's like, I know she's gonna end up in Carval, but I need her to do it quicker, because I think the fact that I know she's gonna end up in it is pissing me off more, because all of this like detouring, because she's like, I need to find Tella, even though we have reason not to be worried about what Tella's doing right now. Like, you're freezing your ass up on this beach, she has a coat and gloves somewhere. Does it really matter where she is right now, or is what really matters you not getting frostbite on this fucking beach in your underwear, you know? Like, I guess it's protectiveness over her sister, which is nice, but it's also like, bitch, can you think about yourself for once, please? And also further the plot. So I'm enjoying it, it's fine. I have no qualms with the actual book. I just hate Scarlett, so. The book I'm reading, like, physically or solely physically, is The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. This is a book that I read maybe 100 pages of on Kindle like 3 years ago when my Kindle worked, and I remember it scared me a lot, and I didn't think it would do the same now, but it is. Even though I'm not even at the part where we get like into the actual nitty-gritty, I'm only 40 pages in. Whew. And there's some memories of what happens is like stressing me out, so great. This is a book about, whoa, why is my brain not working? Okay, so this is a thriller, a YA thriller, and it follows this girl named Rory, and she goes to London. She goes to a boarding school in London. She's from the States. She ends up going to a boarding school in London, and at the same time as this, these Jack the Ripper copycat murders start up. And she finds out that she has this ability after a situation, and it's kind of like her being hunted down by this murderer who's doing these copycat murders, but there's more to it, you know what I mean? This is like a paranormal thriller. I remember what I read before, and it scared me, and now, just like 5 minutes ago, I was walking around the hallway in the dark, and I was like freaked out. But there's the paranormal aspect of this, and like the murder aspect of this stresses me out so much. Like, it just for some reason freaks me out. I don't like horror films because I hate when they're like residually scary, because I know this is just a book, and I know that thing that just happened in the movie is just in the movie. but my brain doesn't like compute it. They're like, oh yeah, that's irrational, but also we're gonna make you fear it anyway. I'm liking this, except for, again, the main character pisses me off, but also I have a gripe with this book, and it's in the writing, or more the description. She's going to boarding school, which means she's like a room, not a dorm room, but like, you know what I mean. She lives in this room with beds. Now, she conveniently has this bigger than normal room. It's a 3-person room, but there's only 2 people living in it at the moment. But the description has confused me. There's 3 windows. There's 3 beds. There's a fireplace and mantle. And I'm just like, and it's in a hallway, and there's a room across from them. And then at the end of this hall, so at one end there's stairs, at one end there's a kitchen, and then somewhere in this hallway, there's this humongous fucking room that ends up with 3 windows. And I'm like, is it, like, this architecturally cannot exist, can it? Like, I can't figure out how this room is situated, and that pisses me off when I'm trying to imagine them in these scenes, because they keep bringing up this stupid room, and it stresses me out, because I'm like, I have no idea how this is supposed to make sense. Their big ass room is here, and then across from them is a 1-person bedroom. So obviously it's not like an equal, there's not like an equal amount of rooms on each side. But the fact that there's 3 windows, it just cannot exist. That's like, it doesn't logically make sense to me, because there's also a point where she's kneeling, so she picks the bed next to the mantle. So that means that on one side there was no window, because this fireplace takes up 1 whole wall. So she's sitting on this bed, and then she kneels onto her knees and looks out the window from her bed. And I'm confused, because I'm like, where's this window? So I'm like, is it behind the bed? So she's like looking at it over the headboard of her bed? Or is it like across the room? I'm so confused how this stupid room is organized. And that pisses me off when I can't, like, when the description of something is not lining up to being an actual existing thing. You know what I mean? Like, if a character walks into a room and says there's a window and across from that window is a bed, I can imagine something. But if I can't imagine this room, I can't imagine where this character is inside said room. And it pisses me off. Like, then I can't really get into this scene, and it makes me want to not read because I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at, you know? So that's a strange gripe I'm having currently. But otherwise, it's fine. Okay, I don't know why I'm still talking. Okay, let's like... I'm on page 148 of The Name of the Star. The sun always washes out anything light, so it's here. And I have a gripe. How many people in your life do you know that have a name like Samantha, in which they are named Samantha, but they go by Sam? How many people in your life do you know that do that? So the 3 roommates in this book, so we originally had 2 roommates, now we have 3. Their names, so we have Aurora, who goes by Rory, who is our main character. We have Julianne, who goes by Jazza, who is our original roommate. And now we have Buvana, who is our new roommate, who goes by Boo. Now, that wouldn't be a problem, except for how many people do you realistically know who genuinely go by a shorter name in their everyday life that are in this close proximity? I don't know anybody in my life who goes by a shorter version of their name that I can think of right now. Oh no, I know one person, but no way is this something that would actually happen where you had 3 people living together who all do this. To me, this is weird because I'm like, if you're an author, right? If you just wanted the characters to have shorter names, why didn't you just name them a shorter name? Like, for example, Aurora. Just name her Rory. Why does she have the longer name if we're just gonna be calling her Rory? Is it just so that every time she gets introduced to somebody, she can be like, oh no, I go by Rory? What is the necessity of shortening their name? I get if like one character does it, because that is a realistic thing that some people do, so just like another character point, but 3 characters who live together, who are all in the main cast, that doesn't make sense to me. It just seems a little bit weird. It's not like a bad thing about the book. It just bothers me, because I'm like, that's so unrealistic. I say that about the book where this chick can see ghosts, but like, that's irrelevant. I'm just concerned about the naming. But yeah, that's my update. I put on makeup, but it's not looking that great because I always in my vlogs I look like crusty as hell, so I try to look okay, but it's not really working. Hello, so I'm on page 277 of this, I think 277, and we're getting to like the climax, I do believe, because this follows these copycat murders of the Jack the Ripper murders, and we're coming up on November 9th, and that's the day of the last recorded Jack the Ripper murder. So we're approaching the climax, and I'm really hyped to see what's gonna go down, because I'm like, this plan's not gonna work, is it? You know? Like, I'm excited to see what we do. So I have like just under 100 pages left, so I'll definitely finish this by tomorrow, or like tomorrow. But I do want to point something out, which it just kind of lends itself to me understanding that this is a debut novel to my knowledge, because Maureen Johnson wrote Truly Devious, and so I'm assuming this is her debut. The writing in this book is not bad per se, but it's very much a debut novel. For example, things will be explained on one page and then like clarified again on another page, like right after, like they hadn't explained already. So there's this device called a terminus, and for all intents and purposes, I will explain this to you as a thing that kills ghosts. So on one page, she's been told that this thing is called a terminus, and then 2 pages later, she's like, so is it called a terminus? And it's just like a basic thing that like is just noticeable, just kind of not consistent. It's kind of like, oh, we already knew that. You know, I don't know how to explain this, but it's just like, it's kind of clunky. There we go. But I'm actually really hyped to see where this goes in the climax. So it's like 11:52 on April 5th. I have finished The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. Now, I know it's not a big deal to like a lot of people who read really fast, but me reading 2 books in the span of like 5 days, it's kind of good for me. Like, I feel like this month is maybe off to a good start, so that's pretty great. I'm kind of proud of myself there. But I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, and I'm not exactly sure what to think. The ending of this book was pretty good in my opinion. The ending scenes were generally very, like, not exciting, but ominous. Like, I don't know if thrillers or paranormal shit is my thing, to be honest. Like, I don't really love being scared, and this book did manage to scare me a lot in some scenes, so didn't love that. Like, I appreciate what the book was doing. It's just not really my vibe. I hate being scared, and I want to go downstairs to get water, but, like, I'm stressed to go downstairs. But I am mad because the end of this book doesn't have a cliffhanger, but I'm like, I want to know what goes on. This is a trilogy, and I really want the other books, but obviously bookstores are not open right now, and I do not have a credit card because I'm a child, and I'm on a book buying ban, so it's just like a lot of problems all in one. So right now I have so many sequels I want to get to, and it's just so convenient that there's a pandemic and I'm on a book buying ban. But I will maybe have better and more like fully formed thoughts tomorrow, but I finished this book and I don't have like fully formed thoughts right now. Like, I literally just finished this book. I also have to go and finish an assignment that was due 2 weeks ago because I have school tomorrow. So I'm gonna go work on that and go BS my way into success. Success is my motto. Hello. So I finished this last night, like I mentioned, and I rated it 3 out of 5 stars, and I've since found out that this is not Maureen Johnson's debut. I think this was her second novel. Because her first novel was like 13 something envelopes or 13 letters, something like that. It was like a contemporary. So it's not her debut, but it's one of her earlier books, so I think that also can just kind of show why the writing is a little bit clunky and maybe not the most smooth, like I assume Truly Devious probably is. But I really, like, I enjoyed this book. There's a lot of things that pissed me off, mostly being the writing, and like the way things were described was sometimes not very, like, clear. So like I said before, this book follows Rory, and there's these copycat murders, Jack the Ripper murders going on in London, and basically she acquires this ability. So basically, if you have a near-death experience, if you have this trait, you will be able to see dead people or ghosts after you have that near-death experience. So she has a near-death experience, and now she can see ghosts, and she's trying to stop these murders. I liked the ghost element of this, and I liked the shades, which are the people who can see the ghosts. Like, shades are the ghosts, but then they also call the people who see the ghost shades, so I'm not exactly sure. I liked that element of the book. I liked the paranormal stuff. A lot of the writing was just kind of what was clunky for me. It didn't really strike me as anything better than a 3 out of 5. Like, it was good. It was a solid book, and I want to read the rest of the series. And there's a novella that came before this book, or like that takes place before this book about one of the characters that's on Wattpad, so I guess I'm gonna go on to Wattpad to go read the novella. There was just some things I didn't love. Okay, there's a relationship in this book, and it is so not fleshed out at all. It's not a big deal. Like, this relationship isn't a big deal in the book, but it just bothered me how there's no chemistry between these characters, because 1 second they don't like each other, and then 1 second they're making out. And it was very strange to me. Like, there was no chemistry, we didn't have any build up. But then another thing that happens in here is there's like fade to black makeout scenes. I have never in my life encountered like a makeout scene in a book or a kiss scene that was fade to black. Like, sex scenes, yes, but this was like they leaned together and then it faded to black. Like, I have never seen a fade to black kiss scene, so that was a little bit strange to me. But yeah, that relationship was very unnecessary and had no real substance or chemistry. And the person, she's in this relationship with this guy named Jerome, and he's her friend and like sort of boyfriend, but not really, just like makeout partner. And he is obsessed with Jack the Ripper, and it feels like he's just a plot device at some points, because he's just always talking about Jack the Ripper. Like, he's very much into true crime and very much into Jack the Ripper, right? And that's a character point. But when every conversation you have with a person is just about Jack the Ripper, it's like, do you have any other personality, though? So that was a problem with him as well, because, like, hard to care about the relationship with him and him as a character if he doesn't have a personality other than exposition, so that we understand some history about Jack the Ripper that we might not know already. Every time we had a conversation with him, we'd be like, hi, how are you? Good.
Do you know this about Jack the Ripper?
Because a lot of that information was needed, but because if you don't know about Jack the Ripper, you wouldn't know that, and you kind of need that information to piece together what the story's doing, but it was not very subtle. I feel like someone who's like a big thriller reader probably wouldn't enjoy this book for like the thrillerness of it, because even me, who doesn't know a lot about thrillers, can tell that this is not that like scary psychological thrill ride, you know, it's not that. But I enjoyed it, so yeah. I'm probably gonna go walk my dogs, so I'll listen to Caraval. And I keep getting a lot of spit in my mouth, and that's why my sentences are not, being that enunciated, which is fucking annoying. So I guess I need to update, because I haven't, but like, what the actual flip-flops, man? Like, for the first 140 pages, I fucking hated Scarlet. It made me really dislike this book, like 3 stars at best, right? And then suddenly, I'm on page like 220 something. And definitely a 4-star, and I'm definitely into it. Like, shit's going down, but like, not action. It's like reveals and shit, and I'm trying to piece stuff together. Although on page 140, I did guess a plot twist that's gonna happen later that I confirmed with a friend is going to happen. So, I don't know if that says the book's predictable or I'm just a fucking genius, because I think I'm just a fucking genius. But that was really rewarding, just like guessing a plot twist, and I think it was at least somewhat obscure, so go me. I'm really enjoying this actually now. I love the like magical vibes of like your environment changing around you. Like, for example, Coraline is a movie I fucking love, and the way things like change around her in the movie, especially toward the end, I love. And like, for example, the staircases in Harry Potter, how they're always moving, like, I love that kind of stuff. And this has a lot of like, you can't trust your surroundings, you can't trust the objects around you and people. I really like that. That's very like, I love that vibe. So any magical carnival books, like, y'all recommend them to me. But there was just like a romantic scene that I fucking loved. I didn't realize I was so invested in like the love interest and the main character getting together, but like maybe I am. But yeah, I'm over halfway, like just over halfway, and I will definitely be finishing this in this vlog, so we'll see how that goes. But I can't stop reading it. It's 9:30 or something like that, so I'm like, Bailey, go do some schoolwork. But I can't. I have to keep reading this stupid book because I'm like really invested right now. So hopefully I don't fail high school because of reading. I'm about to start fucking crying out of anger, so if I do, just don't judge me, because I just fucking finished this book and I'm so mad. 2 stars. The only reason it's not a 1 star is because writing wise it's fine, so it's like I can't really justify giving it a 1 star. You see how it says remember it's only a game on the cover? It should really say that nothing fucking matters. I'm not going to spoil you like completely into the plot, but I'm going to say to you something that I think is fucking ridiculous with this book is that at the end of this book, nothing mattered that we did. Literally everything is revoked, and it was all basically a dream. You know, it was all a dream trope. That's what this book is, except for it wasn't a dream, it was all a game. And I should have known. It fucking says it. It says what it is, and it's not good. The next book I know is in Tella's perspective, and the thing is, I'm so mad at this book. Like, I don't want to continue with the series, but then I also have this problem where I'm like, I need to know what the other books have to do. Like, what other bullshit can you add to this fucking world? But I'm so mad because, like, literally nothing mattered. Nothing we were discovering during the book was even real because they're all actors playing in Caraval, and it's just amazing to me. Oh, I'm gonna move my moisturizer and my water bottle down. The water bottle can stay. I thought that was one of the tropes that everyone collectively decided was like shit and kind of a cop-out, you know what I mean? And like, this author embedded it into her world. Like, that was a super cool, clever plot twist. Like, no it isn't, because it makes everything we've done worthless and makes me feel so much disconnect to everything. I was starting to like Scarlet, and I was really liking her budding relationship, but then we find out at the end that, like, technically he was playing a character. And yes, I see the justification they're trying to bring, like, oh well, we have a piece of ourselves in our characters and I actually loved you. But I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. And like, she buys into it. And it hurts my soul to read this book because I'm just like, all of the chemistry built between these characters, everything we've developed, all of the cool plot twists, all of the weaving of the like storyline, all of the interesting things in this book don't exist. Because the author made them not exist in the end. There's a scene toward the end where we're like trapped up in this room with the balcony. If you read it, you get the context. And Tella is acting like she's been brainwashed by Legend. Like, she's like convinced that she's in love with him, right? And that was like, actually, like, it wasn't emotional for me. It pissed me off because I'm like, I always hated Tella, and I was like, there's no hope for this bitch, but apparently it's fine. But like, none of that mattered. Any tension there was in that scene, fucking gone. I feel like this book has no reread value as well, because you're reading this and you're just like, well, there's nothing here. There's no point in this. I don't understand why the author made that choice. It hurts me that that choice was made, and I literally just finished this book, so these thoughts are super rough, and I kind of want to do a review of this book because I'm so mad. But like, I was genuinely about to give this book a 4-star, and I have not been giving high ratings to anything this year, to be honest. Like, I've barely given out high ratings this year, and I was ready to give this a 4-star. But as soon as we have that twist where like nothing matters, I'm sorry, that is fucking horrible. Like, the whole thing of this is that the person who wins Caraval gets a wish, right? And then that's not even like really a thing, you know what like, you don't know what I mean, but like, nothing presented in this book was a thing. It was all resolved in the fact that none of it really was a genuine situation. None of it was life-threatening. Nobody was ever in danger. And they were all basically watching Scarlet do all this shit, even though they were all in on the joke. And it's just ridiculous to me. And I get that there's more books. There's 2 more books. And there's something going on with Donatella and Legend. But like, I'm sorry. That was a fucking ridiculous way to end this book and then think I'm going to give a shit about your other books. I'm sorry. Why would I read another one of your books when you ended this one like this, telling me there's no stakes? Like, obviously there might be other stakes in those other books, but how, like, it made me hate all the characters at the end because they were all playing characters technically. And that upsets me because I'm just like, well, the character I liked, you're not going to ever convince me that that was the same character you are. Because if you're an actor, that's not who you are, you know what I mean? And even though Scarlet can get over this and still go on her merry way with her fucking boyfriend, does not mean I'm going to go on my merry way believing that these characters are the same and that this is a good ending. That was so shitty and I'm so mad. And I am not going to get over this. I was genuinely really enjoying this book. I loved the world. I loved the whimsy of the world. But we find out that it's like nothing. Okay, basically like after the game you can go home and basically none of it matters, right? Like like, it's explained that if you go to Carnival, it's just a game. Like, everything you're seeing is illusions, don't worry, it's just a game, right? But then it's used at the end as, like nothing we did was anything. Because what we were presenting was that Legend was this evil dude, right? The whole part of the middle of this book was saying, oh, this is not just a game. This is actually serious, and there's actually stakes. The middle of this book was presenting us with actual stakes. And then the end of this book tore away all the stakes, and there was nothing. And so it's just like, I don't see the point in building up all of the stakes in the middle of this book. There's actual things at risk in the middle, but then at the end they pull them away like there was nothing at risk ever, and it's so fucking stupid. I hate this book so much right now, and it hurts me because I was genuinely really enjoying it, and it's so disappointing. Like, what the fuck? So remember, kiddos, if it says remember it's only a game on the cover, basically saying it's all just a dream, just like know what you're going into or don't pick up the book, because I've been harmed mentally by this book and I'm so disappointed. But it's a third book this month, so thanks for that, dude. I have 8 minutes before it is tomorrow, and since I've read 3 books in this vlog, I feel like that's enough. That was it. Where are the books? I can like hold them up and be all professional. So the books I read in this vlog were One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. I gave this 2.5 stars. The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson, which I gave 3 stars. And Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which I gave 2 stars. So, a productive reading week, because I usually don't read this many books in this many days. It's the 6th, I do believe, and that's like never a thing for me, so I'm hoping April is like my month of reading. I usually read on average like 3 to 4 books, and then like maybe up to 6. That's the most I've ever read in a month that I've recorded. So I think that being on BookTube has kind of influenced me somewhat to read a little bit more in a month, because there's people reading like 20 books in a month, and I know I will never be that quick of a reader. But you know, reading at least like 5 books a month consistently would be enough for me. I read these 3 books this week, and I was highly disappointed by a few of them. The Name of the Star I wasn't too disappointed by. I didn't really have that many expectations, so it was okay. It was like a fine 3-star. Like, it was just like straight up fine. This one I didn't expect to love, but whatever. And this one I am just thoroughly disappointed by. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this vlog. I'm like really proud of my reading these past couple days, so I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I've been Bailey. Bye bye.